Welcome to our Community Leadership Forum this evening, sponsored by the Town of Granville. I am Patty Lewis, I'm the mayor for the Town of Granville, and I have Mary Beth Renner, who's our recorder, here with me this evening. We can go ahead and make some introductions. I see a couple faces that I do not know, so Mary Beth, we'll start with you.
You just did.
I'm Susan Riddle with the Greater Morgantown Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Barry Wendell, new councilman in the 7th Ward, City of Morgantown.
Mark Brasidas, Deputy Mayor, Morgantown.
Jenny Salim, City Council, Morgantown.
I'm Laura McDonald. I'm the student representative from WVU.
Kelly Palmer, Chief Tax Deputy of Mon County.
Tom Bloom, County Commissioner.
Renetta McClure, County Administrator.
Colleen Kuhn, Grade Coordinator.
Bill Quaking, Mayor of Morgantown. I'm sorry. Please finish.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I'm Bill Quaking, Mayor of Morgantown.
Frank Devon, Superintendent of Schools.
Janice Goodwin, West Urban Council.
Ron Lytle, Board of Education.
Sean Score, Mon County Commission.
Mark Music, County Assessor.
I don't think Mark would appreciate that.
Joe's Town Delegate.
Alex from the Dominion Post.
All right.
Ed Hawkins, Monongalia County Commission.
Thank you. Okay, we don't really have a set agenda this evening, so I thought I'd start out and share some things that the Town of Granville is doing in our community, and then we'll open the meeting to anyone who wishes to share anything that's going on with their organization. And Susan, I know you have something from GDB to share. Granville actually has started to consider putting in a splash park down at our ballpark. Nothing that is huge, but something that would be aesthetically pleasing in our park, down at our softball park. So we're checking out the possibilities of that. We thought that might be something nice for our small community, especially with all the activity that goes on down at our ballpark. We're also doing a series of movies in the park this summer. We're doing one actually this weekend. A Dog's Purpose, I think, is the movie scheduled for this weekend. And then we have 3 others scheduled as well. So we're hoping to get some community participation, and it's open to anyone that would like to come. We're going to serve some refreshments as well, if you want to pass that word along. We're also updating our Veterans Memorial. We have a member of our community that is also a member of the VFW that has agreed to assist us with that. And the long-term goal is to move that Veterans Memorial to Main Street, where we have the new gazebo. And we've allowed for space there for that Veterans Memorial. So I don't know that that's going to be finished this year. It'll take a while to update it, and I think we're actually going to have a new memorial made. We're not going to move anything down from the old one, which is currently on Dents Run. So the Main Street location will be much nicer, and a much nicer addition, for our new park that's on Main Street. I wanted to mention, Susan, this probably make you happy. We had a softball tournament this weekend, sponsored by the softball league there in Granville, a girls tournament. They had 55 teams come in, teams from all over West Virginia, as well as Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, and Virginia. So they used 9 fields. They used some fields at Milan Park, they used some fields at Westover Park, and they used our fields, of course, down at Granville Park. So it was quite the event. And they're having another one the first weekend of August. Real nice activity for girls softball, for the girls in our community, as well as the traveling teams that participate. And obviously, I know a lot of them stayed up here, so that's good for the benefit of all Morgantown. So we were pleased about that. Our police department is working on sponsoring a movie with the cop at the Hollywood theaters. in the fall. It's one of many activities that they do with kids in the Morgantown area, and it's open to all children in Mon County. But they just did a bowling with the cop out at Suburban Lanes, which is a big success, and they'll do the movie with the cop. And the police department's also trying to start a project for kids after school. They're going to be looking for some volunteer tutors, setting up some computer labs and teaching some kids some computer skills, maybe a Lego, that there's a big trend with the Legos down at our old community building. So we're looking into that as well. But there again, it would be open to all kids in Monongalia County, not just the kids in Granville. Our fire department is in the early stages of organizing a first responders, like an appreciation day at the Black Bear Stadium. It's going to be a picnic type event that's going to be open to all police, fire, EMS, and dispatchers, 911 dispatchers, and their families. Hopefully, the town will provide some monetary support for that. But the Black Bear Stadium they're going to set up entertainment for the kids. Batting cages will be open. I think they have a couple other activities that they have volunteered to help us with. So we're looking at a date in September, so there'll be some information forthcoming on that as well. So those are some of the activities that we're involved in right now. You have anything to add? Okay, very good. Yes.
Mayor, I can attest to the softball tournament this weekend. It went really well. Your softball, what you're doing there at your softball fields is amazing. It's a great thing. I hope you can continue it. I do know if you do put it in a splash park, you have to do something about parking, because we were parking up and down Dents Run. So it doesn't take much. A normal night, there's no parking there. So, but that's a good thing.
We've looked into purchasing some property close nearby, maybe across the road there at Dents Run. We haven't had any luck in purchasing some additional parking. We actually even looked, and you probably laugh at this, that we actually looked at building just like a one-story parking facility that would go out on Dents Run. But that price is just more than we could afford. But we know that parking.
Well, again, that's not a criticism. That's you're a victim of your success.
Yeah.
How about a chairlift up to here? Wouldn't that be fun?
Whether it's trolley. We'll open the meeting now to anyone who wishes to address any issues, and then we'll just come back at the end and set another meeting date. So, Susan, do you want to?
Sure. I have two things. The first thing is we've got a lot of activities going on this weekend. This is our busy time of year. These visitors' guides are hot off the press. The truck dropped them off today. Keep in mind, as fast as they're printed, they're outdated. Okay, so I'm sure there'll be things in here that people still can find, but I have several copies here. If you want to take more than one copy back to your offices, we started today delivering them to properties, and we'll continue to do so as needed. This is one of the many publications that we send out. And as you all have any kind of event, I don't care if it's a family reunion, I don't care if it's a softball tournament, whatever that may be, if there's anything that we can do, because we send out RFPs all the time. You call the CDB, we will actually canvass all of the properties and let them know what's coming into town, find out what requirements are in place. And on more than one occasion, we've gone ahead, we do it every day. I mean, we send out RFPs and then we send back to you and say, okay, here's the properties, this is what they have to offer, and this is what, you get to pick. We don't pick for you, and then you contact the properties directly yourself. So if you have anything going on, and honestly, as small as a family reunion, we've done many family reunions. So it's just what we do. It's easier for us to do that. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us and take as many of these visitors guides as you want, because I really don't want to take any more home. In addition to that, we have, we've been working, I guess, our events that are going on. Of course, this weekend is Mountain Fest. And in addition to Mountain Fest, we have some national programming that we're working on. If you don't care to pass that down, please. Some national programming that we're working on. We have Road Trip Masters, which is with the Discovery Channel. They're coming with their drop top caddy to Morgantown tomorrow, and they'll be here with us through the weekend. And essentially what we're doing is we're producing some national coverage, taking advantage of a great opportunity. Some national coverage for the greater Morgantown area. So we're going to be splitting our presence between what's going on out at Mountain Fest. Of course, Mountain Fest is this weekend, so we'll have tons and tons of motorcyclists and all types of people from outside the area that will be visiting our community. So far, the sales for Mountain Fest are off the charts. I mean, off the charts. So we're hoping, it's very likely, that we could actually be sold out on Friday, which I didn't know that you could really sell out Mountain Park like we're talking, but it looks like we're going to be close. So we'll be all over the place. Hopefully you'll spot the Gold Caddy in and around Morgantown. We've given them an itinerary of things to do, but they kind of get to pick and choose what they want, so it'll be interesting. And then later on in the fall, well, I have it actually mentioned it in my article, so I'll mention it. Later in the fall, we're also taking advantage of another national programming opportunity. This is through PBS. This is with, it's called the Informed series, narrated by Rob Lowe, and it's a national educational short form documentary, and it's essentially, they're going across the country and they're stopping in one place in all 50 states. And and Road Trip Masters are doing the same, but just in a totally different audience than PBS, okay? But nonetheless, we were able, through working with them for a while, to get both of these opportunities, so we'll be rolling both of them through here. And it should be, we're really excited. We're really, really excited. It's going to be an adventure, I'm sure.
Susan, before you start this, do you want school-wide activities also?
For
whatever you were saying.
For the Informed series, possibly, because they're looking at, they definitely have an educational message, and we haven't started the scripting on that yet. The Road Trip Masters is much less school.
No, I was thinking about including the activities that were going on within the community when you first started.
Yes, school activities we can include on our
Is that
events
something you
calendar.
want, though?
Yeah, that would be fine. We're going to be retooling our events calendar actually, because we have so many entries on our events calendar. It's almost too busy, and that's kind of like the parking problem for Granville and softball fields. It's a good problem to have. We're working with more than one community organization. I was asked to participate in the Arts Council meeting. So we're trying to work with them to see if we can be the place, because we already are the place for so many events. Maybe we'll be segregating our events by topic more so than just the way that we do it now. So we might have an arts section that goes off and does its own thing. We have ticketed events that go off and do their thing. Local community events go off and do their thing. So that's on our work program for later this year. We just haven't gotten that far. But I appreciate you saying something. I'll make a note of that. The handout that I gave you, we've been working on trying to improve the overall efficiency of the entire lodging tax process. And there's people in this room that have all been part of different pieces of this, so please chime in or correct me if I'm off base here. But there's been essentially what we've been trying to do, and we talked about this really early, at the end of last year. We brought the state specialist in this particular legislation, Brian Helmick, came up and he did a workshop here in Morgantown. We invited other CVBs, we invited other tourism people. And at the time, with the changing in the guard that was going on at the Capitol, with the new governor and his administration and everything, the general consensus was it really wasn't a good time to attempt to improve the lodging tax legislation at a state level. Because it's, I mean, Joe can probably tell you, it's in need of some improvement. That's being kind, right? Pretty much. So anyway, But that doesn't stop us from establishing our own best practices in our region, because we do work on a regional basis. I mean, I commend you all. This is for Mon County, this meeting here. The Greater Morgantown CVB also represents Preston County. So this is great that we have this many people working together, and we represent enough that we should be able to come up with best practices amongst all of us. So, and then the hope is possibly to, help other CVBs in the state with some of the best practices that we've defined, if that's possible. And really have a consistent application of the state hotel occupancy code. We find out from area to area, there's enough differences that with the differences being as significant as what they are, it makes it difficult for us all to be speaking with the same voice and be consistent about how we are approaching the lodging tax issue. A uniform collection process has always been a challenge from Mon County to the bottom of the furthest southern part of the state. That's also been something else that was a goal, as well as improving the efficiency of the lodging tax record keeping, as well as the process for all impacted entities. Essentially, with a more efficient process, all of us could plan better. All of us could manage better. All of us could gain more, possibly, when we get our budget together at the beginning of the year and we know what advertising we're going to buy for the year, our ability to buy that advertising is based on the fact that we know what we're working with. Well, our budgeting is really, can almost be all over the board when you don't really know what you can count on. So we've gotten together, the tax department, Kelly Palmer, as well as some of my board members. Commissioner Bloom is a board member of the CVB as well. And we got together and we just tried to compare everybody's current ordinances, current processes, current forms, to see what we could do to start to define some best practices that everybody could hopefully support and agree to. And we broke it out really into two phases, kind of like somewhat of an easier piece to be done on the front end, and then maybe a second piece on the back end. The first one, and these dates are this is a wish list. I mean, this isn't anything, nothing's in place, nothing's moving forward. These are just recommendations. But the first thing is requesting that everybody's municipal ordinances, each of the city's ordinances, change their payment section in their ordinance to specifically address when the hotel properties are to pay and when the municipalities are to remit, so that we can have a regularity of, a uniform, consistent process that we know that we're all working with. And just so that people understand, I gave a couple examples in here, for lodging properties to pay monthly by the 15th of the following month. So a June hotel property tax return for June lodging sales would be due and filed by July 15th. That's why it's always the 15th of the following month. And then municipalities reporting and paying to the CVB by the 10th, it's the same thing. So the June reports that go to the municipalities that they receive in July, and by July 15th, are then paid to the CVB by August 10th. So it's always essentially a 2-month delay before it ever gets to us. And that's really meaningful and important for us, because as we work and occupancies are changing and revenues going up, like we're in an upswing right now, where occupancies are slightly trending up, slightly, and the ADR, average daily rate, is slightly trending up. Those things, we won't see the effects of our efforts for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, depending on everybody's regularity of their payments. And we'll be addressing these same things with Preston County as well. It just so happens that Mon County is already has some of these, these types of meetings in place, so it was easier to address it here first. And then as far as the lodging tax reporting, everybody using a universal form. And actually, I think a lot of the forms are quite similar, right, Kelly?
They are, in fact, I like it better than the one we use.
Yeah.
Probably be changing her, so thank you.
Yeah. And then the CVB will provide the municipalities individual forms that will track the status of payments, not the amount of payments by property. That's a real challenge for us. And we're not interested in how much each property pays. I really don't care how much each property pays. What's really important to us is, are they paid and through what date? That's all. So we know how current they are to help us better work with the properties that we work with on a regular basis. And then municipalities would then submit the form that we would give them along with their payment to us, so that we just know what the status of everybody is. Not like, again, what I said, not the dollars, but just the status. And then the last phase would be, hopefully, we would grow into actually everybody having the same ordinance, which is not in place right now. It looks like everybody has bits and pieces of the current state ordinance, and they vary sometimes, and I don't know why they vary as they do, but they look similar enough, but they're not the same. So if we were all working off the same ordinance, if it's possible, that would help us as far as, communicating the message to people and then being consistent and so on and so forth. So with that being said, does anybody have any, yes?
Is this a time for comment or is it?
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
comment for sure.
Well, I mean, I agree with all of this except for that the June lodging sales filed and paid by July 15th, I don't think is realistic for big corporations. I mean, that's 15 days and you're talking not 15
You've got mail
work
lag.
days.
It's actually
And,
45 days.
I think that
The
date
end of
needs to be
June.
reconsidered.
Isn't that what they do currently with B&O and whatnot? They have to.
Well, for
Granville,
Granville,
okay.
our B&O comes in by the quarter, and we usually give them 30 days after the end of the quarter to get those figures together and to submit payment. And even, I mean, probably 75% of our businesses manage to get it filed in that 30-day period, but, we still have stranglers. But I think the big corporations, I just don't think 15 days is realistic.
Could I-
And that's what we do. I mean, that's our policy in the county.
15 days?
But what about mail lag?
They get it to us. In fact, the corporate are usually
The good ones.
better, yeah, they're better with that than some of the smaller local
That's
hotels.
interesting. Because for B&O tax, it's almost the opposite for us.
We were hoping if
Just
we
a
could.
comment.
Yeah,
No, that's what we
Yeah,
did.
that's
We're
what-
hoping that if we could get it all uniform, and then one hotel says, well, in Granville, they're waiting 30 days, in the city of Morgantown, they're only 15.
Oh, I agree.
And that's what we would like to try this to see what happens, because then CVB can also get the money on time, and you also get your money. So that's what our goal is.
And we can't change ours because ours is in state code.
Yeah.
The state code
Yours
is
is-
15?
Yeah.
15.
Yes.
So we're just basically.
So that's why we have to do that. That has to be our policy because that's what is in the state code.
Well, I guess we were doing a state code.
Well,
And that's the problem, even in our code, we didn't say when we're supposed to submit it to CVB. So what we thought would be best is if everyone's uniform using the state code, then we could all get it. That's why I said, all the cities have all the codes. Everything's exactly the same. There's just no timelines in the city or the county. So that's why those hotels wait till the last minute to give it to you.
well,
So-
and then the hotels all get together, and then they all talk, like
Yeah.
this in the room, we have our hotelier meetings, and they all say something different, and then the next thing, you know what I mean? They don't necessarily pay attention to who's actually remitting and which municipality. It's just difficult to manage, but,
We'd like you to go back to your city councils and ask if they would consider this. I mean, that's all we can ask.
yeah. And
But we
then,
think it'd be something where then we could all come out and say, we're uniform, here's what all of us have done. Everyone talks about working together in Metro, in the community. Well, here's the first major issue that we could start with on this.
and this is the result, honestly, the county commission has had such a challenge with properties, not as you've all seen in the newspaper, I'm sure, with properties not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And really, everybody else in all the municipalities has such a smaller number, a much, much smaller number of properties in comparison to the county. And, it's a matter of establishing best practices, and if we can do that countywide, it would be a benefit, I think, to everybody. But if there's any other comments or any other suggestions, or, I'd be happy to go around and actually, I'm going to be scheduling my next round of meetings with all the individual city councils here shortly, so I'm sure this will.
Are you going to present it?
I absolutely can. Yeah, lodging tax was one of the things that I was asked to talk about, several of them, so, Jenny?
So this truly can be done in 15 days, and have we checked with the lodging properties? I mean, they have been remitting
State law.
taxes by 15?
See, for us, it's state code. We have to follow state code as a county, and yes, they do submit in 15 days.
So to try to, it's great to get all us in line and great to get us working together, but it seems as though some direct contact with the people that
Oh,
are
absolutely.
remitting the taxes.
And that's something that the CVB is more than willing to assist
We'll do
to
that
do.
for
We talk with, the municipality, we talk with everybody, but we talk with the hoteliers on a regular basis. And that's something that is not a problem for us at all. We can put a letter together and explain it to everybody. However, we are here to help facilitate this, because this would be wonderful.
Before we do this, it would be nice to alert the properties that we are doing this, that we've met, that we're discussing this, so that if someone does have a reaction, before we all put it into our codes, our ordinances, it would be really nice to know if they're gonna have some problem with some provision. And I think it could be noted that the 15 days is per state code.
Sure.
So that then that will hopefully get people thinking that this is coming, so that they start getting their bookkeeping in order to accommodate. Because then it won't be each of us being either the bad guys or doing something without talking to them. It would be an overall effort to ensure that we can properly promote our area. And if we put it under that umbrella that we're trying to properly promote our area, that would be fabulous.
Would everybody want that to come from the CVB, or do you want me to contact each municipality, or what do you, I can do a universal letter, and then we can send it out and get that approved before you're shaking your head, Jess, right? Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
It can be from the CBB, but you could say in conversation.
Sure.
This is the direction we're all going. That's
Multiple
fine.
organizations
I like
or
it.
something like that.
Okay. Well, we won't send anything out that references anybody without everybody seeing it and giving it the once over. It'll be pretty straightforward.
But I wouldn't mention any particular entity besides the CBB. And just see if we get something, the 15 days is fine, but we have trouble, I don't know, with some aspect of the tax. Or it just would be good to know.
We get a lot of very negative feedback from the properties that are doing what they're supposed to do. A lot of negative feedback.
And why?
Because of other properties that don't follow all the same rules.
So then I guess to ensure that everybody plays under the same rules and to help us to make sure that everybody follows the same rules.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No.
Because then you'll get applause from at least half.
Yeah. In theory.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
I do have a couple things, I want to do them quickly tonight, but I'm going to ask all the organizations in the room if they would to send a letter of request to 3 different groups, and I would like this as quickly as possible. One to the governor's office, one to the commissioner of prisons, and I don't know the proper title for that, but also one to go to the State Department of Highways, Mr. Smith's office. And the request is, we're down, and I want to thank first the County Commission for the workshop they had last week, but we're down 13 workers in this county. It was actually 11 last week, now we're down 13. They're going to have a hard time hiring those people, even if everything worked out. It'll be November before they put them people on, because in our state's infinite wisdom, we just put all the roadblocks up to stop it. So We're down that many people. We know what the road conditions are. Then the other thing that's thrown into this, that I think we can get some help maybe if we all stick together and send a letter out. And it's just a simple request to allow the prisoners to start helping the Department of Highways. For some reason, we got a contest of wills, and I wouldn't put that in the letter, but it seems that we have a contest of wills going on between the DOH or someone and the prison systems as to how they can be released. It worked fine before, but for some reason it's stopped now. I think part of the process is trying to be worked out, but I'm telling you, a letter sending it out, we need this, and I asked the Speaker of the House today if he could get involved and move this thing along, because government's way too slow. To me, tomorrow we should be picking those guys up. Today they told me about it, tomorrow we should be picking them up. In this county, it could use up to 3 crews, and we woefully need these people. And whatever the problems, the issues is, we need those worked out. And that's the only thing I'm asking, that you consider sending a letter, every organization down to those 3 groups, and see if there's any way we can get this moved off of 0. The other thing is, and Patty, it would be when you start talking about the September meeting and the date, I would encourage, if you could, I know there's a lot of things going on, but if you could keep it to the front of September, and the reasoning I'm saying this, you've got an election that's going to go on October the 7th about roads. And we really need, as this organization needs to get together and really discuss that thing and do a lot on it and see where we can get the support coming from for that bond that's going to be placed out there by the governor. And I will tell you right now that it is going to have to change drastically, but I'll be in support of it, no matter what the outcome of it is. But I will be in support of that to try and get some projects. I think 17% of the money will come into Mon County for road improvements. So just encourage everybody to think about it. There's not a lot of time, and we'll need a lot of selling to get that passed. Thank you.
I have a concern about the prison aspect of that.
Okay.
I don't think it's morally justified to exploit prisoners in the capacity that they're being exploited.
And I understand your concern, but I will tell you, they cannot be forced to go out. It's people that wants to. And actually, I was told that there's some up there asking, they could go out because, and I've worked with them before on Milam Park when they brought them out. It was from Kennedy Center, and that's federal, so we can't use those. But the guy actually told me he loved it to be out there and work. There was no problem. He wasn't forced. And when it come to the weekend, they couldn't bring him out. And he told me, he said, if there's any way that I could get him released to come out, he would much rather come out there. So it's not a forced issue, and I understand what you're thinking, but since it's not forced, I don't have as much problem with it because they simply can get out. And I don't know if you've ever visited, but being cooped up in that small area sometimes.
I work twice a month at Hazleton, so I understand what you're going through. I have many reservations about criminal justice and the way it's treated here in this country, but thank you for your answer.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to also speak up about Kennedy Center. They've come out and worked with numerous areas in our community, and sometimes there are rules and regulations that mean that has to stop. And I know that the people who are the most hurt and are the most sad about that are the people from the Kennedy Center that are getting out to come and work. Often I used to do interviews with them as they were exiting and work with them on resumes and their hopes for the future when they would get out. And so anything that's a good transition there between the offenses that may have been, that were in some way committed and their reality of going back to wherever they came from. If there's any kind of transition where they get some reality, they can use their skills, they can develop skills, anything like that is such a huge help. Just to have something on their resume when they get out. So, but they like to get out and do something and not be sort of stuck.
Jenny, you guys used to use them at Boat Park, right?
Yes.
And I've heard nothing but good experiences
Yes.
whenever you guys used to do that.
Yes.
They look forward to it.
Yes, yes.
One thing I would say, I'm not looking to try to do away with people getting jobs. They out of 13, they got 46 people, and they're not new applicants. These are applicants that slaved for a year, and they contacted them to tell them we need people. 6 is what's willing to come out now to even look at the job. And even if those 6 said tomorrow, or the interview's, I believe, next Tuesday, it's November or December
They waited
before
a
they can
year?
get them all.
That's
And
They
we
waited a
need-
year to,
Excuse me?
they
process.
waited a year to
Yeah,
contact
they even,
applicants?
yeah, well, there's been a hiring freeze on, and some of that is played into it.
Okay.
But, and these are not, I think, what, 11.72 an hour, and don't quote that, because I think that was the number that they gave for the starting salary, it's low. And, but, you know, we gotta do something. And anything we can do to get these DOH offices assistance and help. And believe me, legislative wise, there's some things that we need to look at to correct. And you know how long that's gonna take also. We actually had a bill out there and the governor vetoed it before, so we'll work on it. Any other questions?
We have 15 minutes.
Patty, on that note, you know, I want to speak on behalf of the MPO, because you all, a lot of you are on the MPO, and you got a notice that we're going to have a special meeting next week. And what that special meeting's about is, it appears that there could be some additional funds through the Garvey Bond program that we're going to have to approve on a TIP amendment to move it forward. But it's a significant paving program actually on I-79 near from somewhere in this vicinity out towards the line. And I want to say it was about $8 or $9 million in that paving program. So when we spoke to Don Williams, they're trying to free up, if there's money that they can free up and reprogram for our district, and he's done that in a lot of areas on paving, they're doing that. Also, I know the county commission was briefed as well this morning, and you all received a copy. With progress, sometimes comes pain, and they are scheduled to close that Easton Hill area starting July the 28th around midnight, and the goal is to reopen on August the 11th around midnight. If you look at our time schedule for everything that we're doing, there's probably never a good time to do that, but it does literally put all of us up against a schedule of, you know, classes starting at WVU and vacation and all that. But it's going to be, if you look at the detour, there's going to be a lot of roads. I mean, it's going to impact everything, because a lot of traffic's going to be going through Saberton, which is going to be in the city. A lot of traffic's going to be going out Canyon, Van Voris, which it will be around. They're going to have signage all over the interstates. They're going to have detours marked. And I do appreciate them calling a meeting, and they had all like first responders, and Jimmy Smith coordinated that, I think, in between talking to the county commissioners today. And even right down to plans where they're going to stage ambulances because they know traffic's going to be bad during that time. So they're doing the best they can, although it is not going to be a good situation, and it is a very tight time frame, but it is getting ready to start. Now, with that, as you all that are on the MPO know, that we have Tier 1 projects, and one of the Tier 1s would be the mile ground widening. And they gave us an update today on that. So this phase will take it up to just below where the development is on the left as you go down Easton Hill. So this phase will come right up to about that line. So what they're working with now on the next phase would be two major things, which is the next phase is funded, and it was hopeful that it would start in next summer's program. They're not sure if it's going to be able to, because, and the reason being is they have to work with the FAA on some different issues, as well as right-of-way purchases, which, you know, that sometimes is the longest process that has to occur. So even though it's scheduled for next year to do phase 2, which would be to complete the mile ground all the way to the roundabout, they're not really sure. They'll have a better read probably, you know, later this year on where they are with right-of-way purchases, where they are with the FAA. So they don't know 100%, even though that's scheduled to go to construction and it is a funded project, if it will go next year. They're still hopeful, but it all remains to be seen. Well, go ahead.
Just to interrupt your thought a minute, Ron, I don't know which municipality was responsible for it, but they've had directional guards at the bottom of Easton Hill. And it's really kept that traffic flow moving well.
That's the county.
If we already know the choke points now with that road being closed, and if we can do something along, not we, because obviously I don't have control over that, but if something can be done that would alleviate some of those roadblocks just by signal lights, by having something, if the county commission did that, then compliments to them. But we've got to keep that traffic flowing on those choke points if we already know where those choke points are.
Yeah, that's a good point, because they are even going to have officers stationed around the interstate exits on the Canyon Road. You know, if you look at these, there's a lot of potential choke points, but they're going to have them at all different locations to help move traffic. So, and that has been very helpful in this stage of the construction. Also, what we did, we have to get, I think it's called an MS4 permit that we're going to have to do some work on. But Fahad, who is our local engineer here, reported also this morning that the utility work for the most part is completed as you leave Morgantown there by the Coliseum going out to the Star City Bridge. So they are on target to do that construction next year. They don't have the exact date, but the main part of that, the utility work, is for the most part done. And that will be a widening of a 5th lane going through there with sidewalk on the road. You know, at the state police headquarters, that's a really bad accident point because that's 4 lanes and there's not a turn going across. So that will all be a turn point from the Star City Bridge or from the stoplight up to the next stoplight, which will be the Coliseum. So that will be released next year. Utility work is all but completed. And then the other thing is, as the delegate mentioned, we stand to gain a whole lot on the governor's plan. In fact, I think 4 of our Tier 1 projects are also somehow related to the governor's plan, even though those Tier 1s could be that we do a portion of a road, but yet the governor's plan comes in to finish that road. So I can't reiterate enough what Joe just said, that you know, this October 7th vote, we probably stand to gain as much as anyone in the state. I know our MPO is going to be behind it, and we will hopefully get here very soon. I don't know if it will be ready for our emergency MPO meeting, which is next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. But we will get the definites, we're hopeful, of what's in that the governor's plan, because there was some, I don't want to say questions, but as far as, you know, if the Greenback Road's in there, what part of Greenback Road is that compared to what's on our Tier 1 list? So we're hopeful we're going to get that within the next week to 10 days. There's meetings going on, and I actually saw a posting from one of the delegates up in Marshall County that they were able to get their information of their roads in their area. So we're hopeful that we'll have it here soon. So,
Last question I have, who will notify who if weather delays or something, that road doesn't open up on August 11th?
well,
We've got buses on that road the following
that will
week.
come from the DOH. Now, here's what.
Will it come to an entity here, one of the?
Yeah, it will come to the MPO and to the county commission and to everyone.
We will get
And what
that.
I'll do is I'll
Maybe
share,
Tom Bloom's personal Facebook page.
yeah, probably. We'll do that right after the weather report.
Is that the Montana, it's rumor mill, or is that?
No, it's Tom Bloom. This is fact. So,
Ironically, the
I'll
DOH called
give
me
you a
on
lot of
Friday.
credit. You're better than some of the
Well,
weather folks.
The
around here.
truth is Friday, the DOH called me and asked me to put out about the Easton Hill, and I thought they were kidding, and they were very serious.
No, you're
Because they
right.
said it gets out quicker and people have
Here's
comments.
what
But
they
it
told
would
us
be nice
today.
on an official county
No.
website as well, so.
Yeah, we
Frank,
would send
we're
that
all
to the county.
concerned about that issue. Sure.
Yeah.
Because
If I know early enough, I'll plan around.
I mean,
Sure.
moving is scheduled at WVU on that Saturday at 8 a.m. For freshmen. There's
Just
no
no
kids
way.
coming in before that, so we're all concerned. They did say that there is a very significant penalty
I was gonna say, what's the
that the
penalty?
contractor has signed if they don't have finished. That's the good news. Now, the bad news is, as Don Williams said to us, well, that contractor could be finished, but there could be some cleanup work that would need to be done by the DOH that maybe it won't be open that the contractor could be finished, but the DOH won't be ready to open it until maybe that
Maybe they
Sunday
could
or Monday.
sweep on Monday and
So
they could let you use it.
we all have to pay pretty close attention. I'll share with Renetta the video that they sent out of the
Yes.
design and everything. That was really good, and she can send it out to this whole group, so.
Thank you.
Two quick updates, so you know, the food giveaway is a week from Thursday on July 27th. The Mountaineer Food Bank and Pantry Plus More at Clinton Fire Hall. That's July 27th, 11 to 1. And then I want to throw out to the Morgantown new city council members, we've decided we're going to have one on August 24th at the ice skating rink. And we want to throw it out if possible. If you wanted to come, I'll send a letter to you from 9 to 1. But again, that would also be a food giveaway, and that would be, it's always the fourth Thursday, and that's August 24th. And I'll send a letter to you all.
The Suncrest Neighborhood Association has a picnic this time of year, and it's tomorrow evening at Crafts Park. And it's from 5 to 7, and it's a potluck. And they welcome anyone here from the community that would like to come. You don't have to be a member of the Suncrest Neighborhood Association. And it's just Chris Gluck makes hot dogs on the grill, and we have potluck, and the police and the fire vehicles come so kids can play on those, and it's just very nice, low-key Crepes Park picnic. And then I wanted to re-emphasize the events that are happening down at the Robina County Amphitheater. And I have, if you don't have a set, and I know Tom Boone does, because it went out on his, oh, there you go. But this has the times, the venue, the event, and the date. And this was a partnership with WVU, County Commission, Bow Park, and City of Morgantown. And we would just love to fill them up as much as possible. I was passing out at Kids Day, and I mentioned to people that if people go, then it's likely to happen next year. And if they choose not to go, then it won't happen as much next year. So far the events have done really nicely, and it's a great thing. But I have a few of them up here, and so feel free to come by and take one if you don't have one yet. And there's one on Saturday night. Pardon me, there's one on Friday night, yes.
On Sunday, on Monday night in downtown, okay, on the 31st, that will be the Mon County Fair Parade. Okay.
What time is it?
7:30. And then the fair will start at Milan Park and will conclude on the 5th.
School starts for teachers August 14th, students August 17th.
31st.
Okay, so it's right around the
Coming
corner.
right up.
Suncrest Elementary, or Suncrest Primary, we work the community in the city. That will have some Title I personnel there, as well as a pre-K and possibly an early pre-K there this coming fall.
What about Brookhaven?
Brookhaven construction should be done by the time school starts.
In Suncrest Elementary, there was going to be playground installed?
Yes, ma'am, is it not done?
Didn't see it.
When's the last time you went by?
Yesterday?
Did you look in the back?
Yeah?
Thank you. Councilwoman, I'll check into that.
If you check into that, that'd be great.
Check in. Frank, I was looking online to see when school started, because I was just asking myself the question. I found out you guys have an app.
We did.
It's very cool.
Thank
You
you.
can go in and all the schools are listed, and you can pick which ones you want notifications on, so anytime there's closings or anything like that, it's very nice.
Each school has its own website as well.
Yes.
You can tie into that. So yeah, we're trying to come into the 21st century.
He asked me, and I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Board member education.
I don't know when they start.
No, I'm not a board member of the
I do
education.
have-
I'm on enough committees, but not that. You want to talk, Ron?
I was just going to say that we've been fortunate enough that we got our staff hired and we're ready to go. I mean, we got everybody back that we had last year. This county, with the funding that the county provides, has left us create a wonderful school system. I don't know how, this is kind of preaching to the people that know that, how great of a community we live in. But once again, I'd like to reiterate that to be able to give them, we actually got to give a chance to give them more money again this year. So it's a good thing. So it's a good county. So thank you. Go ahead, Bill. You're up.
I'll be less than 5 to 6 minutes, I'll tell you
It's
that.
gotta be 3.
I got two.
Great, you got 3. We have 3 minutes.
2.
I can't reinforce Joe Statler's comments enough about where the transportation system needs to be in this county. I've been involved in this process almost 20 years now, and we need this bond passed by a large margin in this county, such that we send a message down south that we are ready to go. Second of all, I am a member of the Morgantown Utility Board. We do have a vacancy coming up. I don't know exactly when Frank Scafella has put his resignation in. Based on the city charter and what they've done previously, you can have up to 2 people on the Morgantown Utility Board that are ratepayers to the board, but do not reside inside the city limits of Morgantown. I'm the first to qualify for that, and I've been on the board for about 3 years. I'm asking anyone in the room if they have recommendations of like someone who wants to be on the board. They don't have to live inside the city of Morgantown as long as they are a ratepayer to put their application in, but the city council is the approval process for that person to be selected to be a part of the Morgantown Utility Board. We have a $140 million project going on at the moment. As soon as the Corps of Engineers gives us a permit, the reservoir process will be going in and the bonding will be starting hopefully in this fall. We are the largest public utility and the most efficient one in the state of West Virginia. So we're looking, as a personal opinion, I'm looking for people who want to inch the bar higher about how this utility keeps progressing so we have a better quality of life with water, wastewater, sewer treatment, stormwater, whatever in the county.
Can I support you that we're looking for people in particular that have expertise to help kind of raise that bar, and that helps with the bonding, that if people have some kind of expertise or technical information about budgeting, about water, about engineering, about something that has to do with the water utility, that's especially helpful. So if you know anybody like that, please do tell them to get their application.
All right. Anybody have a 30-second something?
I do.
Okay.
So we have 5 new members of our city council. We've got a lot of big ideas that you've probably heard about, and we're eager to work with all members of the community. We're excited about the possibilities of cooperation and moving us all forward, Morgantown, etc. So great times ahead.
Also, our paving project's essentially done for the year. How's that for efficiency? Well before anybody comes back to school. There's like 1 or 2 that have some mud or kind of issues, but otherwise we're done.
And a quick plug, I hope we didn't scare Laura off from being at the meeting, but there will be a number of student volunteer projects, and I don't want to take your thunder away, that week prior to school opening up. And I know they've already got some things programmed, but if you do have things that you want to get on the list, if you contact me, I'll get you to the right person to get students plugged into your project. So usually you like to have about a 5-hour window if possible. And, so I know they're doing painting and cleanup and a lot of other things. So welcome tonight.
All right. Keeping with our schedule, we have 2 minutes to decide on a meeting date for our next meeting. But I do want to thank you all for coming. We always enjoy hosting these meetings, and we